everyone, it's me, Andrea, and I'm here to kick off our Creative Design Team's August 2021 series that is stamping on layouts. Now, this was a fan requested topic that we cover, and we hope to provide you with some of our favorite tips and techniques when it comes to putting your stamps onto your layouts. So stay tuned, we've got some great ideas coming up next.
So let's jump right into the project that I'm going to share with you about stamping on layouts. Now, this little beauty is Raylyn, and she belongs to my daughter Bella's best friend, Marina. And Marina is a talented photographer and took these pictures to celebrate Raylyn's 5-month birthday. So they're just so fun and summery. And I knew when I saw our Close to My Heart August Stamp of the Month, Tutti Frutti Summer, that it would pair beautifully with this layout. So I also thought back to this really old paper pack that I had in my stash called Taste of Summer. I can't even tell you how many years old it is, but it's bright and happy and fun. And I knew there was a strawberry pattern in there somewhere. So I dug it out of my stash and I started cutting some paper. Here's some Calypso paper too, that pink, and then the green is from Calypso, an old paper pack. And I picked out a pattern from our Make It From Your Heart Volume 5 book. I had pre-cut all of the paper pieces to make it easier, for assembly here. So this is a Calypso piece of paper, and I'm just going to adhere that down. I'm using roughly the same pattern that the guide told me, and here I have one of our current ink pads. This is Flamingo, and I am stamping, just random stamping on top of this pink patterned piece of paper. I also have a title here. It is not a Close to My Heart SVG, but it's an SVG that I purchased elsewhere. We didn't have any strawberries in our Close to My Heart collection, so I hope that we get one sometime soon. And the fun thing about this is that the I love you very much, you can actually put whatever fruit you want into the middle, but the little strawberry works perfectly. So I've just done tone on tone with the flamingo, and you'll see that it's a little bold right now, but I'm hoping that it brightens up. Whoops, that was a little mistake, but that's okay. I'm going to use it on the right-hand page. We're just working with the left-hand page now. And I'm going to decide if I need to fill that in, but I think that as this softens up and fades into the pink paper there, it's going to look great. So I want to try to have the baby's face facing, not off the page. I don't really like that when that happens. So I'm going to have her just sort of looking into the center of the page here. So that's why I chose these pictures. And I'm actually going to include some in flip flaps later on when I give her this album. So right now what I'm doing is I'm taking the cardstock. I've lined up my white daisy bases next to each other. I do use my Versamat to get things started, but then from that point I find it's best just to line things up by putting the two base pages next to each other. So I am going to find the photos of the baby that I think work best together here on this page. And these actually probably won't be the photos that end up on top. Ultimately, I'm going to pick the ones that I don't love the most, put those down, and then I will top them with my favorite photos of the baby. But she's just so darn cute that I can't leave any out. So I think I have like 12 to scrapbook. So there's going to be a lot of flip-flops on this page. So I'm just going to get her photos adhered down here. And then I'm going to continue stamping across. Now I think I like how this is going, so I'm going to probably put 3 more stamps down. But before I do that, there was some little pieces. I'm digging out some sugar plum glitter paper and some Calypso cardstock here. And I'm just seeing where I want to put that little banner. And I'm thinking I don't want to cover the I love you very much sentiment that I've stamped onto the layout. So one way that you can stamp on layouts is to actually just stamp on another piece of paper and glue it on. So many times I hear our scrapbookers or my scrapbookers say to me, I'm so scared to stamp directly on the page. Well, this is one way you can actually get over your fear because you're not stamping onto the page here. You're stamping onto cardstock that can be covered up or not glued down at all. So that's what we have done with the I love you very much. So I'm just going to get these little pieces of cardstock adhered down. This one's a little big, so I'm just going to trim it. And again, this was just a suggestion on sizes in the pattern book, but I went ahead and just made it work so that it works with my title. I should also tell you that the title, although it wasn't non-close to my heart SVG, it's all close to my heart cardstock. And the cardstock that we have just allows me to match any photos, any old patterns paper. It just works beautifully. So, especially since we've got the light and dark side of cardstock now, we can decide what works best. So I'm just going to see how high I have these. It was easier when I stamped the left hand side because I could tell that I could just line the bottom of my block up with the bottom of the pink strip. But now that it covered it, it made it a little harder. So sometimes I make mistakes in stamping too. Not that this was a big mistake, but just caused me a little bit more work. So I'm just gonna lay those here, and I am going to just use some foam tape to adhere down this title. Just thought it was very cute, and it works so well with that Tutti Frutti Summer stamp set, doesn't it? Don't worry, this is not all of the stamping that we're going to do. Just figuring out these little pieces. And I should tell you, I got the SVG from Miss Kate Cuttables. I purchased it, and she has some great little titles over there if it's something that you want to play with. I just cut some extra flowers and some extra berries, and these little white flowers are white daisy that are layered with a really thin outline of linen, and they cut beautifully on my CRICUT Maker. And I just thought they were really sweet. So I have some old washi tape. I don't even know what collection this was from, but it sits on my desk, and a lot of times I use it just to adhere things down with my, onto my Cuttlebug. But I'm going to use it as an accent on my layout, and I like it because it's a little bit translucent. Got some little 1-inch scraps and little 1/8 of an inch scraps of cardstock here that were left on my workstation, and so I'm going to cut those into little dovetails, and I'm adding those up on top. I had some leftover sugar plum glitter paper. Now, if you're a fan of sugar plum, you're going to really like this news. We have a new color coming out that's called mulberry, and it's very similar to the sugar plum, and so it is just, it's one of my favorites. Anything pinky purple is just so much fun. So I'm going to trim down that little sugar plum piece. I have got some really old sugar plum glitter gems too. It feels so good when I use my stash, especially on a page like this that has so much meaning that I know somebody's going to really fall in love. And I'm hoping that I can convince Marina to come scrapbook with me from time to time. She just has the most beautiful pictures of this little girl, and I think that they deserve to be captured forever in a scrapbook album. Now I'm just finishing up placing the rest of the little embellishments, and I'm putting some glitter gems onto the flowers and such. One little detail that I want to put is some journaling strips. And again, usually I write on these and then cut up between the words, but I'm going to let Marina decide what she wants to capture here with her memories. Now that we've got all those journaling strips in place, I might scare you with what I'm about to do. Here's that bitty strawberry from the stamp set. I'm going to grab my microtip nonstick scissors, and I'm going to gently cut in between the leaf and the strawberry itself. And I'm going to do that so that this way I can actually stamp in 2 different colors instead of trying to mask and stamp the colors differently that way. I know you might be a little intimidated by cutting your stamps, but they're your stamps. Nobody's going to tell you that you can't do that. So go ahead and make them work the best way that you possibly can. So I'm going to grab some more ink here. I'm going to pick out the raspberry, green apple. I think that's what we're going to go with, is some raspberry and green apple, because I think that it matches the cardstock that I've cut the strawberries out of. And I'm just going to randomly place some strawberries here and there. I'm trying not to stamp on the actual die cut that I've done, and that makes it a little difficult. But like I said, until these bigger die cut pieces were down, I didn't quite know where I was going to fill in with these little berries. So I hope that you can see that they are in 2 different colors, and that was an easy way to do it by just snipping that stamp. You're going to have to be careful when you do something like that, putting it back on the carrier sheet, but you know what, it'll work. And right now I have gone ahead, I put some little green circles too that I've stamped right directly to that base page. I think you can see it in this photo here. And yeah, that's it. So I hope that you like this layout. Next up is Chelsea. She's going to be kicking off day 2 of 8 in our series. So I hope that you hop on over to her YouTube channel tomorrow, and I will leave the link down below in the comments. If you've not yet done so, please consider becoming one of my subscribers. I'd love to have you here. Thanks for stopping by, and have a creative day.